Donald Trump and his message to Pakistan in his national security strategy for America. It conveyed a blunt message that Islamabad needs to end its sponsorship of terrorism and terrorist groups and stop destabilizing Afghanistan. It was a message that resonated throughout the 53-page statement. It said, quote, "We will press Pakistan to intensify its counter-terrorism efforts, since no partnership can survive a country's support for militants and terrorists who target a partner's own service members and officials. We will insist that Pakistan take decisive action against militant and terrorist groups operating from its soil." End quote. Given Trump's decision to return to Afghanistan with a new plan, which includes an open-ended commitment to fight the Taliban, the National Security Strategy document underscores what the U.S. wants from Islamabad. The statement said, quote, "We seek an American presence in the region proportionate to threats to the homeland and our allies. We seek a Pakistan that is not engaged in destabilizing behavior and a stable and self-reliant Afghanistan." End quote. The statement also links U.S. economic assistance to Islamabad's cooperation on terrorism. It says, quote, "In Pakistan, we build trade and investment ties as security improves and as Pakistan demonstrates that it will assist the United States in our counter-terrorism goals." End quote. The strategy also addresses a key American concern: Pakistan's rapidly growing nuclear arsenal and attendant safety issues. The statement says to this effect, quote, "The United States will also encourage Pakistan to continue demonstrating that it is a responsible steward of its nuclear assets." End quote. The reference to Pakistan being a responsible steward of its nuclear assets underscores the worry of some Western intelligence agencies that jihadists could infiltrate the nuclear establishment. There have been a number of terror strikes on Pakistan's air and naval bases, some of which store nuclear warheads, missiles or components. America has vetoed a UN resolution rejecting Trump's declaration of recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The US was outnumbered 14-1 in the vote, clearly showing how Trump stands isolated. Here's a detailed report.
The result of the voting is as follows: 14 votes in favor, 1 vote against.
14-1. That's how the tally stood on a UN resolution on Jerusalem. It was America on one side and 14 other member states on the other. And when the US saw that it couldn't have been more isolated, it used its veto power to torpedo a Security Council resolution critical of the White House recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The resolution was introduced by Egypt and the US trashed it with its veto, its first in 6 years.
Do it with no joy, but we do it with no reluctance. The fact that this veto is being done in defense of American sovereignty and in defense of America's role in the Middle East peace process is not a source of embarrassment for us. It should be an embarrassment to the remainder of the Security Council.
A miffed US has called this resolution an insult.
What we witnessed here today in the Security Council is an insult. It won't be forgotten. It's one more example of the United Nations doing more harm than good in addressing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
And other members of the Security Council are worried.
As we have previously said, we disagree with the US decisions unilaterally to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel before a final status agreement and to move the US Embassy to Jerusalem. The British Embassy to Israel is based in Tel Aviv, and we have no plans to move it.
There is no alternative to the solution of two states. There is no solution of two states without an agreement between the parties on Jerusalem. And no agreement is possible on Jerusalem outside of the internationally recognized parameters.
An angry Palestine has slammed the US decision, calling for an emergency meet of the UN General Assembly.
I have signed a decision to join 22 organizations. No one asked me which are they. We are free. No one can make us committed to anything. There are 22 organizations. Tomorrow, the newspapers will publish which organizations. And we will send the applications to the related countries. And every week, every Monday, we will sign a decision to join another 20 to 30 organizations and treaties. There are 522 organizations. We will join them.
But it seems only Israel is having a hearty laugh at this juncture. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has lauded America for its veto and compared Nikki Haley to a Maccabi. That means a Jewish warrior.
Thank you, Ambassador Haley. On Hanukkah, you spoke like a Maccabee. You lit a candle of truth. You dispelled the darkness. One defeated the many. Truth defeated lies. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Nikki Haley.
Trump's sudden decision to reverse America's policy by recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital has already caused massive outrage across the world. Palestine is fuming, the Arab world is concerned, and allies are jittery. And this veto further asserts how Trump is not willing to budge on his position. Bureau Report, WION.